Now improve your English by answering an interesting question. If you want to get stronger, it's important to practice.
Hi, I'm Eric. Welcome back to Speaking Practice. Today is another day, and that means today you have another chance to practice and get better. I hope you use every day as a chance to get better. If you're able to understand the English in these videos pretty well, that means you must have studied a lot, so you know how important practice is. But don't stop. Learning English really is a never-ending journey. While today's question is not related to school or education, I don't think it's too surprising or unusual. Actually, questions that ask you about technologies that we use in everyday life are quite common, and that's what today's question is about. So, if you're ready, let's get started.
Speaking practice number 21. Today's question. Some people prefer sending text messages, while others prefer making phone calls directly. Which do you prefer and why? In today's world, it seems like phone calls are getting old-fashioned, and texting is becoming the most common way to communicate. Maybe. But what do you think? Do you have a preference? If you see this kind of question on the TOEFL, it's an independent speaking question. You have to explain which option you prefer, and you have only 15 seconds to prepare your answer. Then, you have to speak for 45 seconds, giving details and examples, explaining your ideas as clearly as possible in that time. Want to try? Today's question is a really good one to practice because it's a common idea that's easy to think about. Please give it a shot and think about how you would like to answer. Then, when you're ready, let's take a look. Example answer. I prefer text messages because they're less distracting, and I think they're more reliable and convenient. I don't like talking on the phone because it might annoy the people around me. Nowadays, people are busier than ever, and they hardly ever just stay in one place. During the day, I'll likely be in class, working on a homework assignment, or going to meet friends. So I often can't answer the phone even if I want to. Instead, I glance at my messages and respond when I have some time. Actually, a few days ago, I received a call from my coworker who needed some information, but I quickly forgot about it because I was very busy in that moment. Fortunately, she also sent me a text message, so I remembered to get back to her later with the information she needed.
Now, what did you think about the question and model answer for today? I think whether a person prefers texting or calling directly might depend on their personality. But don't worry, it doesn't matter what you prefer. The most important thing is to put your speech in an order that is easy to understand, and to put many details into your speech too, so it's easy to imagine what you're trying to talk about. I think it's like trying to paint a picture in the mind of the people who are listening to you. This can be hard to do, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about making detailed explanations in the second part of today's presentation. Most people say general sentences. Even native speakers often do this. But if you practice a lot, you can learn how to speak while using details. That's what you should try to do when you make these speeches. Anyway, let's take a look.
General ideas and detailed explanations. Whenever you make a speech or just explain something to a friend, you want the listeners to have a clear understanding of what you're saying. It's important, and it makes you seem more intelligent and confident if you can make a detailed explanation in your speech. One more time, let's look at today's speech and see how I answered. I began by saying that I think text messages are better than calls. Then I said, this is because they are more convenient and I'm busy. For example, I'm busy with classes, work, and meeting friends. Finally, I also gave an example, saying that my coworker's call was forgotten, but her text was successful for accomplishing our task. I started by saying my choice, giving a reason, giving some details, and giving some examples. That's how your speech should look every time. When you're able to follow this kind of pattern, you're making a really detailed explanation, and that's great. But maybe you notice that sometimes there's a general sentence without any clear explanation. This is not so good. In today's speech, I did this when I said, and phone calls are annoying to other people. This is just a general sentence. You don't want to do this when you're talking. It would be much better if we included some reasons, gave details, and had some examples to help the listener understand. How can we make this general sentence better? Well, if we gave a reason, we could say that the people around me can hear what I say when I'm making a call. Then, to give a few details, we could say, such as classmates, coworkers, or other passengers on the bus. Now the listener is beginning to imagine the scene very clearly. So next, I can continue and give an example, saying something like, I heard an old man in a restaurant arguing with his wife by phone, and all the people were embarrassed by this. With all this extra information, I've turned the general sentence into a detailed explanation. Now my speech sounds great, and the listeners will be very impressed by my confidence and intelligence. Speech pattern. Look at the speech one more time, and let's see how a detailed explanation looks. I start by saying my choice, give a reason, and fill the speech with plenty of details and examples to make it all stronger. I also included a general idea, like I mentioned before. This doesn't add very much to the speech, but now that I know how to turn this into a more detailed explanation, I could really make this speech perfect. That's why we practice. Key words. Today's topic asked if you prefer text messages or phone calls. Number 1 is hardly ever. Hardly ever means almost never, very rarely. I think this is easy to understand, but it's used incorrectly by many learners of English. Anyway, an example of something that hardly ever happens is a solar eclipse, when the moon covers the sun in the daytime. Also, people hardly ever get hit by lightning. But getting hit by lightning during a solar eclipse, this must never happen. Number 2 is glance. Glance means to quickly look at something. You can glance at your messages, or you can glance over at your coworker, just looking very quickly. Don't stare. Then number 3 is an expression, get back to you. This means respond to a previous message. When you get an email from a classmate or partner, and you respond, you're getting back to them. You could also say, thanks for getting back to me. Next question. Don't forget, you have to practice. Keep up the good work. Here's the question for the next video. Which one of the following smartphone functions is the most beneficial to students? Taking photos, listening to music, or recording lectures? Now go and try this question on your own. You may think it's hard, but that's okay. After you work hard, you can play hard. The rewards are coming.
Okay, that's all for today. I hope you can see the difference between general ideas and detailed examples. And I know it's hard work, but if you don't work hard, you won't get to have fun later. Really, I think you'll enjoy life more if you work hard. It may seem strange, but it's true. Finally, I know many of you who watch these videos all have different ideas about how to answer these questions. If you would like, please leave a comment below. I'm sure it will start an interesting conversation and maybe help out the other learners who are working hard just like you. Also, please don't forget to push the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. It really helps me out. Anyway, if you're looking for good English practice, there are many more videos coming. So, I'll see you next time.